300 miles off the Amalfi coast, the salvage vessel Artemis waited.
12 specialists moved through the artificial dawn. Their choreography was born of years. Understanding the ocean rewarded only precision.
Their vehicle was the Meridian, a titanium sphere designed to withstand the crushing weight of 8,000 meters of water. Eight months of searching found it. The ship had shattered, but the strong room survived, settled against the abyssal plain like a steel tomb.
Meridian, confirm pre-flight checks complete.
Confirmed, Chief.
As dawn lightened the horizon, the mechanical ballet began. The Meridian was committed to the deep.
The umbilical released, and the long fall into the abyss commenced.
For the first 100 meters, sunlight persisted, painting the water in shades of sapphire and silver.
At 200 meters, they brought their own sun. Beyond their light existed only a blue-black void.
"1,000 meters. The darkness was complete. The only sound was the hull groaning softly under the ocean's mounting weight. Strange guardians appeared. An anglerfish, evolved for darkness, watched the intruder pass with indifference.
In the bathypelagic zone, direction lost meaning. They navigated by sonar, painting a world of sound in their minds.
At 7,800 meters, their lights finally found purchase. The abyssal plain stretched away like the surface of another world.
The wreck was scattered across half a kilometer. But the sonar signature was clear. The vault had survived intact.
And there it is, the strong room. A steel box designed to defy catastrophe, now resting where no light ever fell.
The first touch. A manipulator arm tested the integrity of an attachment point, sending a dull thud through the water. From the world above, the rigging descended. Cables strong enough to lift 40 tons began their 8-kilometer journey.
The work was a 4-hour ballet of precision. Every connection had to be perfect. The abyss tolerated no errors.
The signal was sent. 8,000 meters above, winch motors engaged with a deep, electric groan. The vault resisted, held by suction and weight. Then, it yielded.
Descent began. The Meridian rose as an escort, watching the recovered treasure begin its long journey home.
It climbed through zones of perpetual night, scattering creatures of light. With each kilometer, the crushing pressure eased.
The Meridian broke surface at sunset. The crew emerged into air that tasted impossibly sweet after the recycled atmosphere of the deep.
They had returned from a place where humans were not meant to be. The simple act of breathing open air felt like a victory. 3 hours later, the strong room itself returned to the world. Water sheeting from its steel skin turned to liquid silver in the lights.
It settled onto the deck with a groan of tremendous mass. Steam rose as the deep's cold met the night air. The locks disengaged like gunfire in the morning stillness. The door opened. revealing the darkness within. Inside, the climate-controlled containers waited. They were passed from the deep's keeping to human hands once more.
The first pieces emerged. The scent of leather, not decay, greeted them. The vault's engineering had performed a miracle.
Not all had survived, but most had endured the abyss. Each piece was...
On the fourth day, they opened the final container. Inside was the centerpiece, a trunk that was less luggage, more a work of art.
It had been subjected to pressures that should have crushed it, cold that should have brittled it. Yet it was nearly perfect.
As evening fell, they stood among the rescued treasures. No words were spoken. None were needed.
They had gone into the abyss and returned. They had brought back proof that human craft could endure.
In the silence, the ocean's voice remained. A reminder that everything recovered came as a gift, not a right.
The morning after brought a quiet exhaustion. The adrenaline of the recovery had faded, replaced by the deep satisfaction of work completed. The strong room itself became an object of study. Its endurance under extreme pressure was a data point for future designs. For the items that hadn't survived intact, the work shifted to conservation and analysis. Every failure taught a lesson.
With the cargo secured and documented, the Artemis turned for home. Their mission in the deep was complete.
The Meridian received its own resurrection. Every seal, every thruster, every light cluster was inspected and cleaned.
Their return voyage would be silent. The world knew nothing of the treasure recovered from one of the Mediterranean's deepest graves.
For the crew, the return to the surface world was gradual. Part of them remained in the quiet, pressurized dark.
The Mediterranean showed its gentler face. Sunlit waves replaced the abyssal plain, a familiar world restored.
In the quiet hours,
My thoughts turned to home.
to solid ground at Arlington.
After days at sea, the sight of land was a profound relief. It meant the final stage of their odyssey was near.
Representatives of the fashion houses and insurers waited. Their billion-dollar question was about to be answered. The Artemis rested, but not idle. In dry dock, she was reforged, made ready for pressures yet unimagined.
New missions demanded new tools. The Meridian had proven itself, but the next frontier required a new breed of vessel.
Its birth was a feat of engineering. Every weld, every circuit was a bet against the absolute darkness of the deepest trenches.
The call for the Nemesis's maiden crew would go out soon. Among the veterans, the pull of the void was a quiet, persistent force.
The ocean was a siren song. It offered answers to questions we hadn't even learned.
The next target was not a ship. It was a mystery. An anomaly on the seabed of the Mariana Trench, detected by no one else.
Yes.
The signature was unnatural, angular,
Perfect.
too perfect.
And so, Nemesis met its mothership. A symbiosis of surface and deep.
Choosing a crew was an alchemy of skill, nerve, and psychology. You needed those who could handle the silence and the pressure.
The voyage to the Mariana Trench was long. Days of open ocean.
They trained for every failure: implosion, fire, power loss, entrapment. The simulations were nightmares made safe to practice.
The morning of the dive held a different quality. They were not retrieving the known treasure. They were venturing into the pure unknown. Nemesis descended. Its journey would take hours longer, into pressures that bordered on the theoretical limits of materials.
At 8,000 meters, life was sparse and alien. Creatures here lived at the very edge of biochemical possibility.
10,000 meters. The pressure was a tangible presence, a giant's hand squeezing the sphere.
They touched the bottom of the world, a plain of primordial ooze, untouched by sun or storm since the planet was young.
The ethical calculus was immediate. They were salvors, not grave robbers. But history and a family somewhere might need closure.
Then, a second anomaly. A contemporary alloy case, resting in the ooze as if placed there.
The mystery deepened. How did a modern data case find its way to the foot of the Proteus? Who else had been here?
This they would recover. The case was a message in a bottle, thrown into the deepest well on Earth. It demanded to be read.
This they would recover.
They left the Proteus in peace, a sentinel in the eternal dark.
The ascent was a decompression of the mind as much as the body. They carried a secret now, a weight from the bottom of the world.
It matches the case profile, Commander.
Their report changed everything. The mission was no longer about an anomaly.
On the surface, a frenzy of research began. The legend of the Proteus was one thing. The modern case was another.
The Proteus was a celebrity of its age. Its loss was a national tragedy, a mystery that faded from headlines but never died.
Nemesis returned to a world in tumult, matching the turmoil within. The case they carried felt heavier than the submersible itself. Waiting for them was a man from Aether. His presence confirmed the case's importance and raised 100 new questions.
The case. You have it. It is our property.
If they were going to hand it over, they would first understand what it was. Knowledge was their only leverage.
What they found was not data. It was a physical sample, a substance that shimmered with an unnatural, oily light. It was beautiful and utterly alien. A material unknown to any of them.
Their instruments couldn't classify it. It defied known chemistry. Aether hadn't just found something down there. They had made something.
I'm on the deck, near the superstructure. I don't know if I can get the data off-world in time. They're everywhere.
We need an injunction, and we need it an hour ago.
The chief played the only card she had, the law of the sea, and the court of public opinion if it came to that.
The ship became a bunker. They had gone from explorers to defenders, guarding a secret from the deep.
At dawn, the response arrived. A ship with no martyr towards them.
On edge. Artemis salvage.
Stand by for boarding. Comply for a safe resolution. The threat was no longer implicit.
Lower the boat, now! Go, go, go! Intercept the Artemis!
Get to Nemesis. Take the case. Go back down. Stay on the bottom until I give the all clear. Her order was drastic. To hide the secret back where it came from.
It was not a graceful launch. It was an escape. Nemesis slipped beneath the waves as the hostile boat drew within meters of the Artemis.
The Artemis crew held the line with nothing but their bodies. Their job was to buy time for the deep to swallow the secret once more.
Their descent was a controlled crash. The trench was their only sanctuary, a 10,000-meter deep foxhole.
You have no jurisdiction here. You are committing an act of piracy. It is being recorded.
She met force with law, and with the unblinking eye.
Aether operated in shadows. The glare of public attention, even from the obscure corners of the internet, was their kryptonite.
This isn't over.
In the absolute dark of the trench, Nemesis became a ghost. Its occupants waited.
All clear. Surface. Advise extreme caution.
The order to return was a relief, and a new kind of fear.
Their return was a cautious retreat from a battlefield. The ocean, once a challenge, now felt like a protective cloak.
They returned to a ship that felt victorious and vulnerable. The case passed back to the chief felt hotter, more dangerous than before.
The one sample she kept was her insurance. A tiny vial of abyssal mystery.
The Artemis continued its work, under new layers of security. The chief moved on, but the depths never left her.
They had plumbed the greatest depths.
The sample defied conventional analysis. Its molecular structure was a labyrinth.
The international consortium worked in unprecedented secrecy and cooperation.
The crew were no longer salvers. They were the point of the spear, heading back into the dark with terrifying new knowledge.
Aether had not been idle. They were building an armada, their public face a mask for a desperate race to reclaim their discovery. The return voyage was a gauntlet. Nature itself seemed to oppose their return to the site of the revelation.
Nemesis had been transformed into a hunting dog, its sensors tuned to sniff out the unique energy signature of the Hadaline source.
They descended not into mystery, but into a known danger. The weight of expectation was heavier than the water pressure.
This was no mere mineral deposit. This was a system. A slow, patient...
The Proteus hadn't just sunk. It had been incorporated. The Hadaline was using it as a structural template, learning from it.
The system had detected the probe. It was reacting.
They had touched something ancient and awake. The command structure shattered in the face of a non-human intelligence.
Pilot, back us up. 200 meters. Hold position. We observe. We do not provoke.
In the chaos, her voice was an anchor.
They withdrew to a distance. The Hadaline cavern did not pursue. It returned to its slow, patient rhythms.
Return. Immediately.
The ascent this time was a retreat from revelation. They had not found an it, they had found a thou, and it was vast.
They rose from the deep, leaving behind a secret that rewrote the book.